Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our October Wellness Webinar. My name is Kate Twitty and I'm the Pro Marketing Coordinator here at ZYTO. I'll be hosting today. I'm really excited to be joined by Blanca Nieto, who will be speaking about my holistic journey to cancer recovery. Just wanted to quickly highlight our today's basic immunity report. This was a new balance report we released a few months ago that focuses on the 6 foundational areas of immunity: the immune system, the gastrointestinal system, the lymphatic system, the respiratory system, mental and emotional stress, sleep. With this report, more than 20 new biomarkers were added. This report is available to all balanced customers. And if you have any more questions, you can watch the walkthrough video on YouTube at youtube.com/ZytoTechnology. Also wanted to highlight our today's immunity biosurvey for our select and elite systems. This biosurvey scans for more than 280 biomarkers to determine which areas of immunity may need the most support. You can see the top responses for your selected product, general, and service virtual items. You can select from more than 600 no-sod virtual items for homeopathic output. You can gain important insights into immunity from the 6 different reports and vectors tab. If you have any more questions about this, you can learn more at zyto.com/today's-immunity-biosurvey. Once again, I'm super excited to be joined by Blanca Nieto today. She'll be speaking on My Road to Wellness, her journey through the years since her husband's diagnosis through his recovery. Here's a little bit about Blanca. Blanca studied business administration. She's a mother of 2 to Paulina and Diego. Her husband was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. Blanca researched natural medicine when he started chemo, and she became a naturopath through the Trinity School of Health in 2019. Blanca is currently the owner of My Road to Wellness. Without further ado, here's Blanca.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me in this webinar. Thank you, Kate, for your invite. I appreciate it, and giving me the opportunity to share our cancer journey through the years. My husband was diagnosed with cancer back in 2013. We were traveling to Europe for a couple of months, and the previous month in May we went on a cruise to Alaska. We're travel agents, so we get a lot of invites. So we went to Alaska. We had a very nice time, but he started with a problem with very heavy nosebleeds, which I thought it was the cold, the dry weather, and also his medications for cholesterol. So when we got home, he stopped taking one of them and he stopped bleeding. So we thought the problem was corrected. So the night that we were traveling to Europe for a couple of months, which it was like June 13th, I asked my husband, why don't you go to your doctor and just make sure that your medications are still the same for your cholesterol, and tell him you were nose bleeding last month, and just for my peace of mind, just go to the doctor. So he showed up that morning to the doctor. But before he took the dog to the vet, because he needed some vaccines, because we were gonna be out of town for a couple of months. So everything was like in a rush the same day. So by the time he went to his doctor, he had a back pain because he couldn't get the doggy out of the car. She was just playing around. So when he got to the doctor, they count his they did blood work, and they did some blood pressure measurements and pulse, and his pulse was like very, very high, like around 105. And just the doctor felt that it wasn't the right moment to be traveling. I think he felt something wasn't right. So he said, let's do further testing. And for now, I'm gonna give you a letter saying that you should not go out of the country. So when he came home with that letter, I honestly felt like, okay, this is a letter from God that we should not travel, because there's my family was going through something health-wise very tough. So I thought we should just stay home and don't travel. So I said, let's just find out what's wrong with you. As soon as we cancel everything, he went to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor ordered an MRI to see what was the problem just by carrying the dog in the car. That wasn't making a lot of sense. It was a tiny dog, 6-pound dog. So he ordered an MRI, and he had the MRI next day. So when we went to the MRI and picked that up, we took it to the doctor and to the chiropractor, and he said, "You have cancer." So I thought that he didn't know what he was saying. So I took the MRI and went on the first building that I read, cancer. And I said, these people know what the oncology, the chiropractor is talking about. I'm not gonna play with this, and I'm not gonna be in peace until I find out. So we went to the cancer center, and I remember I was desperately cutting the lines, cutting everybody, because everybody was on the waiting room, and say, I need to talk to a doctor because my husband's MRI came back and my chiropractor is saying that he has cancer. So they took me right away, and they saw the MRI, and they said, you have an appointment tomorrow. And until today, I can't really go through that moment again. So that's a moment that if I had to say it, I say it, but I don't like to talk about that moment. But the outcome is really nice. It's really good. It's full of blessings. So he started his conventional treatment. He changed his diet, and we pray for a safe and positive outcome. He started his chemotherapy from June to November, and that's when we visited an alternative clinic, but that was after he finished his conventional treatment until he got into like a certain remission. So instead of going to the transplant right away, we wanted to explore the alternative way, the alternative methods, because while he was going through his chemo, I did a lot of research. The first research I did was about magnesium, that magnesium levels are very, very important in the blood because it protects the DNA, and the sodium bicarbonate helps to keep the body alkaline. So I discovered Dr. Serkis, Mark Serkis, and he gave us like a phone consultations, and he advised me to buy also like a biomat. This is like a bed of stone, all biomat, all amethyst, and when you connect it just like powers your body like a cell phone, and it has the healing power of negative ions. Then on my research, I did research 24/7. I found another doctor named Curtis Kuhn, and Dr. Kuhn helped me to understand what cancer was and how to deal with the metabolic imbalances that the body is going through to have cancer. So that was very important for me, that part of my learning, and he gave me a protocol for my husband according to his diet and his blood type. So this is about the metabolic test that he's doing with every patient. So he sent me the enzymes with amino acids, vitamins, minerals. He teach me how the cells get multiply with no control. This is like a theory from back in time, how the trophoblast theory and cancer. What's the relationship between the trophoblast theory and the healing properties of pancreatic enzymes? And it was very interesting, and I'm going to read it to you. When a sperm fertilizes an egg, it begins to divide. Soon, trophoblast cells form into a cyst around the embryo called blastocytes. These trophoblastic cells then begin to invade the inner lining of the uterus, and this invasion of tissue by another one is unique to pregnancy and cancer, invading the blood vessels of the uterus and set up a system of stealing blood from the mother to provide nutrition to the embryo. And this is what happens with tumors. When Dr. Kuhn gave me an extensive protocol for my husband, I felt that I had the support I needed, and I will always be thankful. He wrote a book that mentions my husband's journey with his enzyme method. His book, it's called Metabolic Mission. You should read it, it's very interesting. Now it was time to go to Tijuana. This is November 2013, and we visit the clinic to see what they offer, and we decided to stay. Sergio, my husband, received coffee enemas as a form of detoxify the liver. I understood how it works and how to do them. I have no idea. When they were telling me about coffee enema, I was like, what are you talking about? So I had to leave it. During different supplements, how they work, like curcumin, Q10, alpha-lipoic acid, selenium, boswellia, and omega fatty acids. I did ask Dr. Contreras to introduce enzymes for patients because I knew already how important the enzymes are for the patients. While he was there with Dr. Contreras for 3 weeks, he received vitamin C intravenous to work as an oxidative instead of antioxidant, because when you take high doses of vitamin C, it acts like an antioxidant instead of oxidative instead of antioxidant. And one of the most important treatments was the B17, which is amygdalin. It's a substance acquired from apricot kernels. It has certain molecules, cyanide, glucosidase, and sugar. So the cancer cells, they think it's sugar. So when the cancer cells open itself to get the vitamin B17, the cyanide and glucosidase, it's known to explode inside the cancer cells. But as I'm telling you, this is my personal journey, my personal treatment, and I don't intend that you do what I did. It's just like I'm sharing with you what we've been through. Another treatment that I researched was the SOT. The SOT is a treatment that comes from Greece. We visit Dr. Hammond in late November. He's a chiropractor dedicated to helping and guiding his patients with knowledge. His main treatment is the SOT, which requires sending the patient's blood to Greece with Dr. Papasitorius' lab. It gets tested and the cancer stem cells are counted. They create then a molecule called the SOT that finds cancer cells, putting a flag on them so the immune system can destroy them. This gave me hope once again. My husband got it for 5 times in a 12-month interval. There's a timing for this. We're going to talk about Electro Medicine and how it helped us in this journey. One of my favorites is Electro Medicine. My brother, a couple of years ago, introduced me to the Zapper, which is a little device that you connect to wristbands, and then it broadcasts frequencies between 500,000 hertz and 1,000 hertz, or 500,000 hertz to 1 million hertz, to be specific. And it's changing frequencies through the treatment. And this is amazingly useful for everyday pathogens that we weigh through food. When my family goes through like stomachache or any problems with food poisoning, the Zapper is the #1 that they use. If they get a little more complicated, we use another device that I'm going to talk about. In 2014, we decided to do natural methods since the cancer was under control. I found Dr. Nina Silver. She wrote the Rive Handbook, and she is an amazing researcher for healing as well. So she guided me to Dr. Richard Lloyd because I was trying to use herbal products and electro medicine, and you have to talk to an expert because electro medicine is very strong. So sometimes there's certain herbal products that they can get into the cell a little deeper, and you don't want to do that, or it just depends on the herb with the frequency. So Dr. Richard Lloyd guide me through this. Dr. Richard Lloyd, it's dedicated to the research of Raymond Rife. He has a lab that evaluates the energy of the samples sent to him. They're mostly saliva samples on a piece of paper. And he makes his own organically grown tinctures as his main balancers for the body. He, when you send the sample at his lab, he sees the frequencies that are in your body with his lab. So he knows the weaknesses and the strengths of the body, and he can even test certain supplements or herbal products if they're good for your body or not. And this is a very, very useful way to find out, so you don't guess what is good for you or not, which we're going to talk about that later with ZYTO. The F-scan, it's a device that we used. I learned about it with Dr. Richard Lloyd. It uses cylinders and it scans your body to find resonances that they shouldn't be in your body. You have certain frequencies, the organs, they vibrate at certain frequencies. So when the F-scan scans your body, it's gonna find certain organs or tissues that they're not have the energy that it should have. So that's how it detects the pathogens frequency or energy, and it'll give you back the frequency that you need to get back into balance. This is a very useful device that it's one of my collection of favorite electro medicine. Dr. Richard Lloyd also set up a frequency generator for me with the list of, like a menu of problems or illnesses, that if you feel like you're coming with the flu or the cold or inflammation, you just look into the menu and do the frequency. So I really like this device because if I have like some stomachache or inflammation, or my daughter loves to use this generator, and even for cancer. For cancer is really good because it broadcasts until 20 million hertz, and for cancer, the frequencies of cancer, according to Dr. Rife, were in the 11,780,000, a little higher, a little lower, but so a device that goes all the way to 20 millions, it's a really good device. And you can add a helium lamp as well. So Raymond Rife discovered the power of frequencies to kill pathogens under his microscope. Every pathogen has its own vibration and explodes with the right frequency. So he wrote each frequency that it was killing the pathogen. So he wrote it down. He made like a list of pathogens and which frequency was killing that pathogen. It's very interesting, and it's available for everyone. Then later on, I bought a infrared sauna to induce fever. When I asked a cancer patient, when was the last time you had fever? They said never. I was very healthy all my life. So his immune system wasn't even recognizing that a problem was coming, and the immune system wasn't even creating any fever. So the far infrared is really good to detoxify the body through the skin, and also to provoke that fever. Also, Dr. Lloyd recommended sodium bicarbonate bath salts followed buy coffee enemas and grape juices a day. Actually, the coffee enemas, I learned about them in Tijuana, but Dr. Lloyd told me how important it is to have the sodium bicarbonate baths to reduce radiation in the body. That's very, very important, and my husband did it every day. I spoke with Burton Goldberg a couple of times. He's not here with us anymore, but when he was alive, he helped so many people and wrote many, many books. He talked to me about pulse electromagnetic fields, and he guided me on nutrition, especially for multiple myeloma. He recommended bone broth for lump rich in nutrients. He said the bone broth is what your husband should be eating, and he helped me so much. He guided me, and I will always be thankful with him as well. Dr. Jerry Tennant, we visit Dr. Jerry Tennant. He has a very, very interesting device called a biomodulator. It works by scanning the tissue as well for voltage. The cell has certain voltage, and when the cell loses the voltage, so the body can get sick. This happens. That's why when they said healing is voltage, that's where he talks about cancer. When the cell goes very, very low in energy, it can be converted into cancer cell. So voltage, it's life for the cell. So it was very, very interesting to visit him because we learn about how to have the right raw materials to make healthy cells, how important again are the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. And he saw surgeons that teeth, and he measured how important was like not to have any amalgams, because amalgams, they block energy through your meridians. Amalgams are metal, so it's very complex. The energy of the body with the amalgams, it causes like cross reference with your own energy. I'm not a scientist, but I kind of understood that the amalgams are not good at all. So we really learned so much with Dr. Tennant, and after right away we went to biological dentist to remove all the metal fillings that my husband had. Cannabis. There is a lot of misinformation regarding the use of cannabis, claiming that it cures cancer. Our personal experience was that for my husband's cancer, and for my husband in particular, it did not work. I don't know anybody else, I don't know about any other cancer, but what I can tell you, what I can share, is for my husband, cancer did not work. We're going to talk about the anti-neoplastons from Dr. Bersinski in Houston, Texas. Doing my research, I found that Dr. Bersinski cured brain cancer back in 2000 and 1999. And it was very interesting to see his documental. So we went to see him, and we wanted to try the anti-neoplastons. It was a time when everything that had success in a way, and it wasn't hurting the body, we were gonna do it. We were gonna try it, everything to save my husband's life. So we visited Dr. Bersinski in Dallas. I have to say that it was very, very expensive. He had to have a Hickman line on the chest connected to a pump, and he had to be connected 24/7 every day for more than 8 months with no success, till we needed to go another direction. natural IVs and supplements. Since the antineoplastin did not help when we were in Houston, Texas, I found another natural doctor, medical doctor in Houston, that he was doing IVs for cancer and supplements. So we were in the same city, so I wanted to visit him and see what he can offer. And also, it didn't help for multiple myeloma. For my husband's cancer specifically, it did not help. We did poly-MBA, curcumin IV, and artemisinin, artesunate. It didn't work. Well, we were trying all these methods from Dr. Bersinski and the Dr. MD in Houston. It didn't work. So we lost time. His numbers came back. His symptoms of nose bleeding came back. So we were thinking we need to do something else. We had a time in between that we visit a doctor in Reno, Nevada, that he does insulin potentiated chemo. So we traveled to Reno, Dr. Forsyth, but that time my husband wasn't doing well. He was again with the pulse very, very elevated, 114, and he wasn't feeling well. He was feeling very, very tired. So they presented the treatment, which was insulin potentiated chemo. They lower your blood sugar with insulin, and then they introduced the chemotherapy with sugar so the cancer cells can open up and eat all the chemotherapy because it's mixed with insulin. So I got a feeling that wasn't the right way to go. I got a feeling that wasn't the right way to go because my husband wasn't healthy. He wasn't strong, and his pulse was very, very high. So I thought this is not gonna work for him. So I decided to say that no, that this treatment, we should not do it. So a friend of mine, a very nice friend of mine, has myeloma. She looked for me and she said to me, Blanca, surgeon needs to go to Arkansas because Arkansas is the way to go for multiple myeloma. I knew about UAMS. I know about Myeloma Institute. My husband knew about the Myeloma Institute, but to be honest, we just didn't want to do it because it was heavy dose chemo, then one transplant, then another transplant, then consolidation. And it's the strongest chemo you can ever have. But my friend said, if you want your husband to live, you have to go to Arkansas. So I said to my husband, why don't we go? And he says, no. And I said, why don't we just go so my friend can stop calling me and texting me that we should go. Just go like a vacation. Let's just figure it out. Let's just go to see what they offer. And he agreed. So we flew to Arkansas. He had 3 days with evaluation. He had his first PET scan. He had full body MRI. And at the end, then we saw the doctor with all the results. And we discovered that the only option was to do chemo and tandem transplants because his situation wasn't good at that moment. Dr. Van Rey and his team gave me and my husband our lives back. He received chemotherapy at University of Arkansas Medical Systems, and it contained, the program was to have induction chemo for 96 hours. It calls to induction chemo. And then after that, you get the first transplant. It's very tough. And then after 2 months, you get the second stem cell transplant. It's a little tougher. And after like a month and a half, he gets his consolidation, which is the chemo that he had like at the beginning. It's another 96 hours of chemotherapy. And then all the counts go all the way to 0. He needed blood transfusions, pumps with platelets, pumps with potassium, with magnesium, and his nutrition was very, very strict. He had to take aloe juice to heal the burning from the chemo in his digestive tract. He had to have like bone broth at home and a lot of rest. He needed to be resting most of the time except when we were visiting, because this is outpatient. They do an outpatient transplant, so you can go home every day and just take care of yourself and don't get exposed to anything, because there's no immune system. It's 0. I have the videos. If you get to see my YouTube channel, you can see the videos of my husband's journey. And if you want to call me or shoot me an email, I'll be more than happy to share all his journey. So right now he's receiving chemotherapy as a maintenance. He finished his treatment for transplants back in 2017. So all the 2018, 2019, and 2020, he's receiving every other week intravenous chemotherapy, daily chemotherapy pill, and his steroid to help the chemotherapy work a little better. It hasn't been easy, but let me share with you that there's hope. If you are a caregiver seeing this video, God bless you, because this is a gift to have someone that you love and care about. And if you're a patient, please look for a caregiver, because you can't do this alone. There's hope, but you have to take a lot of responsibility. I'm sharing my story. I hope this works in any way. You can contact me at any time. Now I'm dedicated to helping people. I use the ZYTO technology in my clinic. It guides my clients to make better wellness decisions. I wish I had this at the beginning of my journey. I use it in conjunction with ebooks to address emotional blockages. And I do my husband's Foods for Wellness, what is stressing the body and what balances the body. This is light to our everyday fight. As I'm telling you, whatever you do, do it with your heart. If you are the caregiver, do it with your heart. And if you are the patient, please look for a caregiver. Patients can't take so much on themselves. They need a hand. Life has its own force and is transmitted through light. My light from God and all His given blessings. This journey is tough, but it's full of blessings. Thank you so much. You can contact me at my Road to Wellness at Hotmail or on my website, myroadtowellness.com. I appreciate it, and I leave Kate to finish the presentation. Take care.
Thanks again, Blanca. If anyone has any questions, you can email Blanca at myroadtowellness.com. Our next webinar will be on November 4th, 2020, 10 a.m. on Mountain Date Time. Thanks again for joining us today. We'll see you next time.